The start of school is just around the corner, as much as we all hate to think about that. When that brings to mind a couple of movies dealing with school. Film critic Chuck Koplinski is here to suggest some of his favorite back-to-school flicks. Hello, Chuck. How's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
Not thinking about back to school, thank goodness.
Of course not.
I'm a little past that, but, you know, it's a good time to watch some back-to-school movies.
Definitely, and there are quite a few of them. I don't know if you're aware of this, but 1999 is being regarded as one of the great years in film history, and there are 4 films from 1999 on this list. The first one being October Sky.
Now, this is a movie that my science teachers used to put on in school when they didn't want to teach me today. But it's a great movie.
I was going to say, it wasn't torture,
Oh, no, I loved it.
Yeah, I love this film, too. It's about Homer Hickam, a young man who is from the coal mine area on the East Coast. It's his story about how he uses his education to leave that behind, and he becomes one of the leading engineers in the NASA program. Jake Gyllenhaal is in this. Chris Cooper plays his father, and Laura Dern is the teacher who influences him and pushes him on to great things. This movie never, ever ceases to move me.
It'll make you cry.
Oh, geez, every time. Every time. The contentious relationship between the father and son. And at the end, I mean, the kid's just looking for a pat on the back, and that's what he gets when that happens. You know, just have to turn away.
That came out in 99?
1999, wow. Yeah, see how old you are?
And next, we have one of my favorite Linklater movies. A classic. I can quote every line from this movie, School of Rock.
School of Rock, you know. And you know what? It's funny you say that, because I don't know how many times I've seen this film. And the sign of a good film is that it never gets old. I know when the laughs are coming, and I know you do too, because Jack Black stars as this musician, this frustrated musician, and he's masquerading as a substitute teacher at this private school of, you know, higher learners. And he is bluffing his way all the way through this, teaching them how to rock and how to stick it to the man. And, you know, as I say, you know what's going to happen, even if you've seen him, after you've seen him many times, it still works.
You find a new laugh every time you watch that movie.
Did you happen to see the musical? Because I know they did a Broadway musical based on this.
I'm familiar with some of the music from the musical, but I haven't seen the actual show.
And we're going to have to find it somewhere, because I'm sure it's out there somewhere.
Yes, I'd love to. Okay, next up.
Election, the second 1999 film, Alexander Payne, one of his early ones, and it deals with a student council election at a high school in Nebraska. Reese Witherspoon, in one of her early roles, plays Tracy Flick, and she is quite ambitious to the point to where she alienates everyone. And Matthew Broderick plays here the social studies teacher in charge of the election, and he realizes that there's a despot in the making with Reese, and he goes out of his way to sabotage her election as she's running for the president of student council. This one has such a wicked wit to it. It's so sly, it's so funny, and let me tell you something, it is so on the mark about how politics work in general, even though we're dealing with just a high school election. I can't say enough good things about this. I love Election.
Got to check that
one out.
The next one, if you've got a bunch of girlfriends, this is probably a favorite amongst your friends because it's one of the best rom-coms ever. 10 Things I Hate About You.
10 Things I Hate About You. 1999 again.
Really?
And based on a Shakespearean play as well. That was always the excuse I used to show it in class. Heath Ledger and Julia Stiles as these star-crossed lovers. And of course, they're quite contentious. A lot of great classroom-based things throughout the film as well. And this one, of course, again, even though you've seen it many times, it never ceases to entertain.
Okay, Rushmore. I haven't seen this one. Tell me about Rushmore.
1999 as well. It deals with a private school as well, plays by Jason Reitman, and he is an overachiever who can't graduate. There's a lot going on. Bill Murray, one of his best roles as a sponsor at the school, who runs afoul of this kid and lives to pay for it.
Okay, next up, Stand and Deliver. Stand
and Deliver, true story about Jaime Escalante, math teacher in Los Angeles who inspires his kids. Edward James almost got an Oscar nomination for playing this role in the film. You want inspiration without melodrama? Stand and Deliver. It gets you inspired about teaching and teachers.
That's a fine line to walk. I'm glad they pulled it off. Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
I can't believe you haven't seen it.
I know.
You told me you haven't seen it.
I know. It's crazy. Everyone's seen this movie.
Dude, everyone's seen this movie. Sean Penn in one of his earliest roles as the stoner, Jeff Spicoli, and all of the shenanigans that go on at a Los Angeles high school. You know how this came about? Cameron Crowe was writing for Rolling Stone at this point. He would later go on to do Almost Famous, Jerry Maguire.
Almost Famous. Jack, you've seen it over there.
Yes,
he knows this is one of my favorite movies ever.
But Cameron Crowe was young enough that he went back to high school, masqueraded as a high school student, and everything he saw was the basis for the script for Fast Times at Ridgemont High. This one doesn't.
See it.
Yeah, this one doesn't age as well.
When you come up with this list, does it take you like 5 minutes, or do you have to rewatch movies and remember?
I usually have some lists at my disposal, but then I will type in like a subject into Google, and every once in a while one will pop up. I'm like, yeah, I forgot about that one. That needs to go in there.
Awesome. Well, if you ever want to connect with Chuck and Pam, you know where to go. Their Facebook page, their website, or they'll slide right into your inbox if you sign up for their newsletter. So Chuck, thanks so much for joining us today, and good luck with back to school. Hopefully these movies will make it a little easier on you.
They sure will.
We'll connect you to Chuck and Pam online at CILiving.tv. Thanks so much.